Welcome to the Creative Nomad, presented by TrueAwesomeLife.com. I'm your host, JP Adkins, and I create this podcast because I want to tell the stories of the radicals, the ones who are out there making the world a better, more beautiful place, the amazing authors, artists, musicians, thought leaders, coaches, and yes, nomads who are out there living their true awesome lives and want to help others do the same. Are you ready to live your...
I don't know if that played or not. Let's try that again.
Hi folks, welcome to the Creative Nomad, presented by TrueAwesomeLife.com. I'm your host, JP Adkins, and I create this podcast because I want to tell the stories of the radicals, the ones who are out there making the world a better, more beautiful place, the amazing authors, artists, musicians, thought leaders, coaches, and yes, nomads who are out there living their true awesome lives and want to help others do the same. Are you ready to live your true awesome life? Go to TrueAwesomeLife.com and start your journey today.
All right, so already coming up with some really fun tech problems. Hello, everyone. It's really awesome to see you. I am, just to let you guys know, in case all crazy happens, I'm at my mother's today, and the internet is not beautiful. So I apologize in advance for any glitches that may happen. Thank you so much for being here today. And Becca is here with us. She is absolutely amazing, nomad, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. My name is Becca. I'm from the States, and I am actually kind of new to nomad life. I am currently in the process of starting my podcast production slash management business, headed to Hawaii to do some house sitting and just kind of build that up while I'm there. I kind of started my business out of not really being able to find an actual job, and so I was like, well, if no one's gonna pay me, then I'm just gonna start to pay myself. So yeah, just traveling, and that's me.
Yeah, I totally get it. I mean, it's interesting how many people I hear nowadays that say, "Yeah, I just couldn't get a job, so I had to do something." You know,
Yeah.
what were you actually looking for when it comes to a job?
Yeah, so I studied journalism in school actually. I do freelance writing still as well for outdoor magazines and the outdoor section in newspapers. And so I was just looking for a journalism job where I was doing digital marketing and social media management. And so I've always had like a random few clients here and there. I've never had like a job where I'm there 9 to 5. So I've always just kind of had clients. And so I was like, oh yeah, like maybe I should get an actual job, you know? And so just that kind of job, and it just didn't end up working out for me. And I just decided, well, you know what? I guess there's other things that I need to be doing.
Yeah, you know, of course, it's decided that it wants to go live. I put it up there because I can actually see on my side, it shows that you're frozen. And
Oh, okay.
so I moved the phone up so I can actually see it. And of course, it starts playing. I told you all kinds of tech things today. I'm very sorry. I apologize. Um,
That's okay.
so as you're building this business, what is it that you really want to put out in the world? What is it that you want to create in the world with that?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest struggles I've always had is doing work that is not purposeful to me. And so, a lot of the times when I was doing social media management and stuff, I was like, this is great, but it's not very purposeful for me. I don't feel like I'm really making a difference. And so I feel like that's kind of where I'm going, is that through my podcast, I have been able to talk to and share stories from, I mean, I'm sure you know this as well, just share stories from people that I feel like it just matters. And like all of these stories, like I'm not looking to interview celebrities. I'm just honestly looking to interview normal people doing really cool and inspiring things. Um, So I guess that's my goal, is to honestly just share people's stories and make a difference in that way, and just kind of help everyone understand that they can literally do whatever they dream of doing. Like, if you can dream it, then you can make it happen.
Yeah, definitely. It's so, the celebrity doesn't need you to be on the podcast. You know what I mean? They don't need to be on your podcast. The people that need to be there are people like you. They're out there making a real difference in the world. And out
Mhm.
there, one of the things I really believe in is that the system is broken. That whole, 40 years and get a watch at the end and you're going to be taken care of is gone. So how are you going to live in between that? Right? There's no one else supporting you. That whole system that really promoted getting the job, doing the great things, and waiting until retirement to live your life isn't there. So how are you going to do that and build your life while waiting for the retirement? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, yesterday was Mother's Day, so I was talking to my mom. We were at breakfast, and I was just like, "So, what do you regret? Like, what?" I always love asking, like, just the older generation a little bit, like, what is your biggest regret? And, her biggest regret is, like, not doing the things that she kind of always dreamed of, because she felt like she had to lead this very practical life. And granted, they came up in a very different time period.
mhm.
But she was just like, wish I would have opened that business. I have so many ideas and I didn't do any of them. And I just I've been a teacher, which she loves, but it's just, that was her biggest regret. Like, she was just like, you go do whatever you need to do. And don't have any regrets. So
I love it. I love it. So what is the biggest thing you would tell somebody that may be thinking about going nomadic or thinking about um, how to live a nomadic lifestyle? What would be the first thing you would ask them? What would be the first piece of advice you would give them?
yeah, I mean, so I'm gonna backtrack a little bit here and say that, like, I had to go through a very large period of discomfort and unhappiness to realize that, like, what I wanted to be doing. And I felt like sitting in that discomfort and really being alone with myself, alone with my thoughts, and not letting outside factors, like, don't let other people's voices and opinions kind of trickle in. So I feel like I had this period of, please just kind of let me be. Please like, with my family, I was just like, please don't tell me your opinions. Please don't tell, like, I just need to be by myself.
Mhm.
Um, and I think just taking that time to really understand what it was that I wanted, not what everyone else wanted for me, was the most beneficial thing I could have done, because it really gave me the confidence to be like, what I'm doing is like what I need to be doing. And I think that's it's probably a piece of advice people hear a lot, is like, no one is going to understand your dreams the way that you do.
Mhm.
Um, so I would just say my biggest piece of advice is just like, understand what it is that you want to be doing, and then just like, once you figure it out, just show up with confidence and just start, like, day by day, step by step. I have no idea what I'm doing, but, like, as long as I'm just saying, like, every day I'm like, "All right, cool, like, let's just get the ball rolling a little bit." So I would say just, like, little baby steps every day,
Mhm.
will get you so far, and just, like, a belief in yourself, when maybe you don't have a support system, so, like, your belief in yourself will get you a long way.
Yeah, I truly understand. If people aren't telling you you're freaking crazy, your dream isn't big enough.
Yeah.
I fully believe that. And when I went nomadic, everybody and their mother and my mother, everyone, their mothers, my mother, my father, everyone was like, "Are you sure this is what you want to do? What, you know, where are you going to live? What happens if?" I'm like, "Well, what happens if that happens and I'm sitting here?" You know what I mean? Like, you deal with it.
Mhm.
So, um, I had to do the same thing. And one of the things I teach when I work with clients, the first thing I say to them is that there are 3 things that you have to know for sure from you, that without anyone else's influences, right? Who you are, and that's who you are at your core. Now you take on all kinds of labels. I took on a label of human, right? But there's something at your core at who you are. The next is what your purpose is. And people overinflate purpose in such a crazy way. You know, my purpose has to be this big grand thing. Well, I believe purpose is a feeling and how you spread that feeling to others.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a way to do that. And last but not least, what your version of success is. Because when you don't have that core, what it is that success means to me. You know, you're going to listen to society's version of that, which might be the white picket fence and the 3 cars, the 2 cars, the 3.5 kids, and the dog in the yard, right? When that isn't your success, that isn't success to you, and that will never satisfy you. So when you know those 3 things, everything else can be built off of that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think that's maybe why I struggled for so long, is because I didn't know what my version of success was, and I didn't really know what it was. And I think you're spot on when you say that your purpose doesn't have to be this grand thing. I mean, I think you can make purposeful steps on a daily basis just by like being a kind person. So I think whatever your purpose is to you, you just have to step into that, and like your purpose will grow along with whatever you decide to do.
Yeah. You know, my purpose is to live in creativity, authenticity, and profitability, and help others do the same.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. Now, how I do that, it can be a million different ways. I was doing that as a restaurant manager, and I'm doing that now with what I'm doing, you know, as a coach and a mentor and all the things that I do now. So what does that look like for you? It just, that's the question. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what is I know that you just launched a podcast, and I think that it's really awesome. What is the name of that podcast?
Oh, it's the Blue Rose podcast. So I actually launched it a year and a bit ago, so like
Oh, wow.
maybe 13-14 months ago. When I was living in Madrid, I was teaching English for the year, and I almost didn't start it. I really was just like, I don't know if you ever felt this way when you started your podcast, but I was like, oh, I don't have anything to say. Like, who's gonna listen to me? I shouldn't do this. And so I started it, and I just did it as a hobby for a year. Now this year, I'm actually starting to take it a lot more seriously and get more guests on, because I just fell in love with everything. And I think that's another piece of like figuring out your dreams, is like, if you have an inkling to do something, you should kind of just do it and see where it goes. Because like for me, I never expected to love podcasting so much that now I'm going to start my own podcasting business. Like that never occurred to me 14 months ago, when I was too afraid to release my first podcast episode. I had the idea like years ago, and then I just was like, oh, I'll do it next year. You know how it goes. So
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, you know, and that's so true. How many times have you said, I'll do that next year?
Mm-hmm.
I'll do that when I get to it. You know, and then it's, 10 years go by. Ooh, mine was New Orleans. I wanted to go to New Orleans since I was 11 years old. I read Interview with Vampire when I was 11, 12, that range, right? Fell in love with New Orleans, fell in love with Anne Rice, and read everything that she wrote up until the Jesus books. I read the first one. I was like, no. Just no. But I didn't get to go to New Orleans until I was 44 years old. And it was always something I always said I was going to do. And it was always something I was going to do. And I'm going to do at this point when I get here. Oh, I don't have the money for that. I don't have the time to take off. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have this. not really looking at what it would really cost, not really looking at how I would really do it. So it was one of the first places I went when I went nomadic. And there's a picture out there of me eating my first beignet, crying, just absolutely crying. I use it a lot for promotional stuff because in all reality, that moment that I captured on film was the culmination of 33 years worth of wishing and wanting and not having because of whatever, and finally making it happen. So,
Yeah, wow.
you have to really think about what it is that you want and why do you keep putting the roadblocks in. Now, I might not be able to go to New Orleans every week. I could if I wanted to. I'm really thinking about spending some serious time there really soon. But because I love New Orleans. I love it. I love it more now that I've actually been there and actually been experienced that whole thing. Like, I just want to be there. But what is it that's holding you back? Is it a time issue? Okay, so maybe you can't go today. So when can you do it? What would it take to get there? How much do you have to save a week? You know what I mean? I might be making minimum wage and may not be able to take a trip next month. So what does it look like? How much do I have to save this out of every check? Maybe it's $10, $15. I could do it next year. I'm working on a trip to Egypt right now. It's gonna be about $3,000. So a full 7-day with all food included, like all this, like, and I'm doing the tourist trip. I understand I'm doing a tourist trip on this first one, but I've never been there, so let me do the tourist stuff, right? I'll at least get a flavor, and then if I want to go back, I can go back and see things that I want to see, right? So, but it's like $3,000 for the whole thing. 6 days on the Nile. And it's a cruise that you go through, and it stops at all the important places along the Nile. You go and spend a day here, spend a day there, do all the stuff, and see all the big things. I'm like, sounds like a plan to me. So that's what I'm working on, and I can't do that. And I have that plan for next year, for my birthday. So because I can't necessarily do that tomorrow either. But what does it really take? What would it really take?
Yeah.
And that's something you have to ask yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty amazing, first of all. I mean, that trip sounds great. Can't wait to hear about that. Yeah, I've made it to like Europe and stuff, but I haven't made it to South America, any of Asia, Africa, any of those. But one day. But I think what you're saying is true. Like, you kind of, for me at least, I have to like put it on my calendar. I have to physically, mentally be like, this is happening. And I find that I tend to make decisions in a way that's like, because I was so tired of being like, oh, I'll do that next year. I'll do that next year. It's just like, if I have the thought, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna like put it down. I'm gonna sign up. I'm gonna do the thing. I'm gonna do it now, and then work back from there. I'm not a huge like, let me figure out everything before I get there. Let's commit to it, and then we'll work backwards, and I'll figure out what I need to do, because odds are, if you've already committed to it, you've signed up for it, you've put it in your calendar, then you'll make it happen regardless of anything, regardless of cost, time, whatever it's going to take. If you're that excited about it, you'll make it happen.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. You know, believe it or not, we're coming to a close. I can't believe it. I know. It's like, whoa, wait a second. Really? Already? Yeah. So in these last few minutes, I really want to talk to you about what it is that you want to create in the world. What is it that you want to really leave people with?
I honestly just want to, like, as of now, like I've said, I really am just passionate about making people, and not making them, helping them understand that they are capable of anything that they put their mind to. I have this wild dream to open my own like hostel cafe type situation and have retreats, and I think just a sense of community for me is really important, and I want to build a community surrounding wellness and travel and balance, and just like promoting a space where people can truly and authentically show up as themselves and share their story and realize that like they are valued and they don't have to be this like, again, celebrity to make a difference. Like you can just follow your passions and get to where you need to go, and also just kind of like a space that allows for trusting the process and realizing that it's okay if you don't know what you're doing, and it's okay if you mess up, and it's okay if you fail.
Yeah, I you. So it's funny as I get ready to and have a big announcement. I want you to think back when you hear this.
Okay.
You couldn't have set me up better if you tried. Honestly,
Great.
um,
Meant to be.
it is meant to be. It's so funny. I like as I'm sitting here going, check, check, check. So so Becca, how do people get in touch with you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Becca Blue Rose, and that's also my YouTube channel. And I'm on Facebook, just Becca Murphy, and then my podcast is the Blue Rose Podcast, and my new business will be called the Blue Rose Co.
I love it. I
So,
absolutely love it. Becca, thank you so much for being here today. You are a light in the world.
no,
You
thank
are
you.
you are so aligned, and you know, I really think this next what I'm getting ready to announce to the world, um, actually is very much for you. So I do want to talk to you about that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you go. I'm
Mhm.
going to make this big announcement, and I want to get back together with you. We need to get together, and I want to be on your
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah, of course. Would love to have you.
You are such an amazing person. Thank you so much. We're going to definitely talk and connect, and we're going to have a great time. Thank you so much for being here. I will see
Yeah,
you
thank you.
really, 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 really soon. Guys, you need
Yes.
to connect with Becca. She is authentically why the Creative Nomad is here, is to bring her people like her on. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye. Have a good day.
Bye. Alrighty, folks. I got a big announcement. I've been telling you guys, I teased you about it last week. This week it is here. We are getting ready to release the True Awesome Network. Ah! This is really about connecting the entrepreneurs and the nomads and the creatives and the light workers all together to make a bigger impact on the world. Right? And how are we going to do that? Really, we're going to do that through having shared resources. We are going to have the podcast network, the broadcast network, I should say, where we have both the all of our podcasts. We'll have a YouTube channel. We'll Twitter accounts, Instagram, Facebook, all of that, all connected, so that we are having an amazing time. We have the merch store where creators, such as my coffee line, is there. Any merch that you have, if you're doing crystals or candles or things like that, really trying to make things happen and putting things in the world, or authors, artists that have products that they want to sell, can all be sold there. We also have the academy where you can actually teach courses, do your programs, things like that. And last but not least is our community center, the Orange Dragonfly Center, where we can actually come together as a community and really make a difference through different support groups, different conversations that we're going to have in there. So definitely come and check it out. Um, if you guys are interested at all, leave me a message down below wherever you're seeing this. Okay, and I'll get you all the information over, or contact me over on Facebook. It's True Awesome Network. It's probably the easiest one. So I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much today for being here. Becca is amazing. And really, that's what we're creating. We're creating that space, that world where everyone can live in creativity, authenticity, and empowerment, free to live anywhere they want, with whomever they want, without fear or lack. I want you to join us. I love each and every one of you. I will see you guys all next week. Yay!
Thanks for listening to the Creative Nomad Show. If you have any questions about this or any other episode, go to creativenomadshow.com. There's also a link at the bottom. If you are a radical and would like to be a guest, you can apply to be on the show there. Thanks again, and know that you are loved.
Awesome Life, we look for the world changers who want to live in creativity, authenticity, and profitability whenever, wherever. So check out trueawesomelife.com and let's get started.